Hi guys, I'm Amelia and welcome back to Eight-Legged Babes. Today we are going to do a couple things. First, I'm going to introduce you to my two new tarantulas that I picked up last weekend at a local reptile shop near me. And then we are going to check in on my Grammostola Actaeon Jacoby just to see how he's doing in his enclosure since the rehousing, and also I need to just kind of dig up his water bowl and refill it because he is by far one of my most active tarantulas when it comes to redecorating. So last weekend I went up to Stoneham, Mass, which is a pretty close suburb of Boston, to the Jabberwock Reptile Shop. And if you're in the Boston area, I highly recommend it. It's a fantastic shop. This isn't sponsored. I just really love shopping there. They have a great variety of both reptiles and inverts, and they're also really knowledgeable and are very careful about who they actually sell reptiles to. They make sure that their clientele are extremely informed about what they're buying and how to best support the animals that they are buying. So if you're in the area, I highly recommend them. So first up, let's meet my Carabina versicolor, or my Antilles pink-toe tarantula. So both species that I got are actually just slings. This one is a little bit smaller, actually a lot of it smaller than the other one that I picked up. But we are going to take a look at her. She actually molted right after I brought her home, maybe like 2 to 3 days after I brought her home. So we're gonna see how she's doing, and I'm also gonna see if I can get her to eat for us. She hasn't eaten since I brought her home, mostly because she was in pre-molt and I just didn't realize it. Yeah, we're just gonna see how she's doing. Okay, so that is her right there, and she's built a really nice little web hammock. You can see water where I put water droplets on her hammock this morning. That's just the easiest way to keep her hydrated while she's still small and in this enclosure. She's pretty bunched up. I don't know if we'll get her to eat on camera. Oh, hello. Hello, friend. I don't know if we'll get her to eat, but I think it's worth a try. I have very small mealworms for my smaller jumping spiders and also my baby velvet spiders. This is about the size that they're eating right now, so it's really handy. I have just about every size feeder, it feels like, except for anything roach wise. I have just about every worm you could feed your arachnids. Okay, let's find one that's about her size. I'm gonna do some worm digging. Yeah, that could be good. Because these are mealworms, I tend to pre-kill them before feeding them to any of my tarantulas. Jumping spiders, it's different. I put them in a feeding cup and they kind of hunt on their own. But with tarantulas, when you're just drop feeding them, I don't want to give mealworms the chance to burrow in the substrate, because when they mature into beetles that are very dangerous to tarantulas. So we're gonna go ahead. I won't make you guys watch this. We're gonna pre-kill this guy. And if she doesn't end up wanting it, I actually can feed this mealworm to some of my other slings, like my Sierra Madre woolly or my Brachypelma classy. Okay. I wonder if I could even, I don't want it to fall, because then she'll never get it. Yeah, she is a very shy sling that I've noticed. Most of my slings are pretty shy, but honestly my like my G Rosea, my B Classy, they're pretty out in the open a lot. And they will openly take down food from me. But my Carabina versicolor is a little bit quieter, which I have named her Blueberry. Let's go ahead and close her up. Now, for those who are unfamiliar with the species Caribbean versicolor, this is in our boreal species of tarantula. They start out when they are slings and juveniles a bright turquoise color, and unfortunately we won't be able to see that as clearly with my specimen here just because of lighting, and she's kind of hidden in her web, but they're a bright turquoise color. And then as they age, they actually develop new colors, and I'll be sure to include a picture of a mature specimen here. But you'll see as they mature, they get deep burgundy hairs on their legs and abdomen, and then on their carapace they stay like a bright turquoise or almost a jade green. They're by far one of the most beautiful species of tarantulas. I myself am not as much of an arboreal tarantula person currently as I am a terrestrial tarantula person. That being said, they have been on my list since I started keeping, and the plan right now is to move her, obviously not for a while, but once she's up to size, she's going to get rehoused into Hawksold enclosure, which is a tarantula cat, tarantula crib collab that I love a lot with the glittery background. I was holding on to this in case I got a Caribbean versicolor, so I'm pretty excited that if everything goes okay, she'll get rehoused in here down the road. So next up is my other pickup from Jabberwock Reptiles, which is the Lazio cyano sazimai, or the Brazilian blue tarantula. Now, this species is a terrestrial species. It has a bit more of a reputation than some of the beginner terrestrial species. So like Grammostola pulchripes, or even some of the brachypelmas, who are considered really docile, calm beginner species. This is a New World terrestrial. They're not dangerous in the sense of like how you might consider an Old World's bite to be more dangerous. The difference here is they tend to be a bit bulkier and a bit more willing to throw a threat pose. I will say my experience so far, and I've only had her for a week, she is one of my shyest tarantulas that I've kept so far, and she is number 9, I want to say, tarantulas of different species that I've kept. She stands out as being very nervous. She tries to hide a lot, and I've actually had to move her a couple times out of positions in her enclosure where once she was in, I was like, you know what, that corner that she's wedged herself in, I don't feel comfortable with her there in case she decides to molt there, so I did a little rearranging. Obviously I pulled her down for us to see today, but after this, I've come to kind of the consistent decision to keep her enclosure faced backwards on my shelf. Just for example, she is in the same enclosure as Jacoby, my Grammostola Actaeon. And just so everyone fits on that shelf level, I keep them faced this way. And their hide is at the back here. That's just kind of how I've structured them. For her, I tend to face it the other way, which means almost all of her enclosure is mostly hidden from view. And I think that tends to make her feel a bit safer. So let's go ahead and take a look at her. And I've brought out some waxworms to see if I can get her to eat on camera. Unfortunately, I know we didn't get lucky with Blueberry, but we shall see. She is so shy that I'm not going to hold my breath for it, but I am going to try and get you guys a really good shot of her. Okay, first things first, I want to make sure I know where she is. Okay, I see her way back there. Okay, first things first, we're gonna do a little maintenance. I'm just gonna get most of the dirt and stuff out of her water dish, try and level it off a little bit. She has done some nice redecorating with the water dish. Okay, first up, let's add a little bit of water. And then let me see if I can get a good shot of her for you guys. That is her right there. Like I said, she is by far my shyest species of tarantula. Of course, up until her, I've been keeping mostly Grammostolas, brachypelmas, that sort of thing. So, but I do want to see if I can get her to eat for us. So she is right here. Let's see if I can find a nice juicy waxworm. That's kind of always for my tarantulas or spiders that aren't eating, waxworms seem to be they're the candy. Actually, one of my jumpers that I got recently, Sunny, my Phidippus arizonensis, she is tiny. The only feeder I've gotten her to eat is a waxworm twice her size. I've tried everything, that's all she'll eat. Classic. Okay, here's my waxworms. These actually have lasted longer than I would expect. So let's see. Get a brush too. Well, that's not going to be very good if you guys can't see. I don't know, guys. She is not looking very interested, and the worm is leaving. I'll do one little trick. Let's see if I can get her. Yeah, she's not feeling it. So I'm gonna go ahead and remove the waxworm. There's a real chance, it's hard because I've not gotten a great view of her. Oh my gosh, please ignore me dropping this waxworm all over the place. I have not gotten a great view at her abdomen in the past couple days. There is a real chance that she is in pre-molt and just is not going to be interested in food, but I wanted to at least give it a try. And for her, I've decided to name her Lapis after the stone lapis lazuli. Now, when she is older, and I'll actually include a picture of it here, she is going to be a deep blue, almost iridescent blue, especially when fresh off a molt. So that's obviously where the name Brazilian blue comes from. Now, unfortunately, I know we didn't get to see Lapis eat on camera, but I did make sure to get a quick recording of my rehousing of her when I brought her home from the store last weekend. And I want to be sure to include it here for you all. So last up is going to be us checking in on Jacoby, my Grammostola Actaeon. I just want to say, This is by far the most, I don't even know how to describe him, precocious, dramatic. He is a drama queen tarantula, which you read about the genus, you think you're like Grammostola, I have a Grammostola pulchripes, they vary from species to species, but I got this, I understand Grammostolas. I didn't. He is by far the fastest tarantula I've ever worked with. My L. sazimai lapis probably will put him to the test on that, especially as she gets bigger and a bit bolder and more comfortable in her surroundings, but I have never worked with a spider that moves as fast as him. And that's because I'm still fairly new to the hobby. I don't have old worlds who are typically considered, teleporters, but he teleports and he also loves to remodel. So I thought we could see kind of how his enclosure is looking right now. I need to dig his water bowl up and I thought maybe we could try and feed him on camera because he tends to be my most voracious eater as well. Okay. Now there's a real chance he will run into his burrow, although over the past couple days he has filled in his burrow and then dug it back out, so we'll see. Yeah, he just ran in. That's okay. Okay. So here is his beautiful home. HGTV Tarantula edition. All of this moss used to be alive, and up here it's now kind of more of like an accessory for him. Let's see if I can do this without him running out and attacking me, because he will definitely come out and attack. I shouldn't say attack. Attack is not the right word. He's always very curious about me filling up his water. And you'll see, similar to my L. sazimai and a lot of the species that I keep, this is kind of the wet corner. I tend to overfill the water bowl, keep one corner or side of the enclosure damp so they always have a water source. Okay, same thing. Actually, you know what? Before I start filling his water, I'm gonna get the wax worm ready. So if he comes out to check out the water, we have a diversion. Okay, as you can see, I just kind of overfilled it a little. It's already pretty damp in that corner. I'm also gonna upset him and do a little rearranging right there. This is also, it's off camera, but this has been his most recent project over here. He's a digging this corner. So some of this behavior, I'm kind of thinking about how to best react to this behavior. Part of it is just natural tunneling, burrowing, it's kind of natural behavior for a tarantula. It also brings up the thought of like, is he stressed? Is the environment too small for him? In the way that people in the hobby really measure tarantulas and then appropriately pick enclosures, he is in an appropriate sized enclosure. Usually you want to do 2 to 3 or 3 to 4 times the length of a tarantula as their enclosure. This is about 3.5, I would say, times the length of his body. That being said, because he's such a mobile spider, because he is constantly moving and constantly out, he might be one that I upgrade before his next molt. I'm gonna consider it and think about it and just see how he does, but I think he is a species and a specimen that would really benefit from more space and more room to dig and interact with his enclosure. So I'm gonna kind of keep that on the back end. If you guys see a rehousing in the next few weeks, it's probably gonna be Jacoby. Come on, Jacoby. You guys can see next to the worm, that's his little foot right there. I want him to come out a little bit, so I don't want to put the worm in his burrow. Whoop. Hi, handsome. You went right past your worm. It is behind you. He does this a lot. I'm going to give him a second to see if he feels it on his abdomen and turns, because he loves to do this. See if I can zoom in a little bit. Oh, there we go. Hi. Got a pretty good worm. Yeah. Let's see if I can get it. Okay, so I had a feeling he would eat on camera for us, so I'm glad that I pulled him down as well. And I got him set up with some more water, so hopefully he'll work on that worm for a bit and maybe stop rearranging as much. We'll see. Honestly, I'm actually really happy when I see my tarantulas rearranging and actually like utilizing the enrichment that's in their enclosure and behaving in a natural way. It kind of, you know, gives me the feeling of like, okay, they're not just hiding in a corner terrified. They are interacting with their environment. They're behaving like a spider, which means I'm doing at least something right with them. So that is going to do it for us today, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm really excited that I've added 2 new species that were on my dream list to my collection. Hopefully they do well and they thrive. I'll obviously keep you guys updated with how Blueberry and Lapis do. Hopefully Lapis starts to get a bit more comfortable, and I'll keep an eye on her. It might involve a bit more enclosure, kind of updating to give her even a bit more coverage. So we'll see how she does. As always, be sure to like and subscribe. And if you want any more spider content or just content of me and my pets in general, follow me on Instagram at 8legged babes. And as always, have a great rest of your day.